Hello, you beautiful people. This is Chad Warren. You can find out more about me at chadwarren.me. Okay, so what this video is about is me attempting to discover the best path for me to get a job in computer programming. So, I am going to record all of this because it's just hard for me to keep it straight. And I hope to network with others as an aid to them and myself personally, because the number one thing I'm trying to learn how to do is a network with anybody through any means in order to work on our shared goals, right? And so I have my own my interest is in designing an app to facilitate community, because I don't know if it's just me, but it just seems impossible to get anything done in the independent research community that looks into conspiracies and occult topics. And I mean, I just feel that watching videos and listening to podcasts is kind of worthless, unless at least with studying magic or something. You've got people going, "Hey, I had a goal to achieve receive $30,000 from at this point in time, and I did these rituals and I achieved that result." Or you could be talking about business and how to run a business and goal setting and achievement, using the will to achieve what we want, and not depending on codependence on external authority systems, right? That I think it's a natural phenomenon of there's a constant battle within biology and human experience that this who's the master, who's the slave, or who's the cooperator game, where I mean, it's no necessary. There's no malicious intent has to be involved. It's just people like me don't know, and then you're going to find out, and then then people want you to sign contracts and go through them to get what you need, right? Uh, and I try to devote myself to getting as far away from that as possible. Now there are other type of people that are a lot more able to be productive as an individual, to learn to play music and start a band, or to learn how to computer program. And I've always felt that I've been really lost in between that individual and group world, that I just have trouble staying focused, etc. So this is my attempt to do something about that. Now, I'm reading through this email that came to me, and it may be that I originally heard about NexGenT through an ad on Instagram in regards to a $1 IT certification. What is it? Not IT networking certification. And that was before I saw a similar ad from Career Karma, which I'm enjoying interfacing with that app and the people there, both the creators and peers, as a way to discuss what I'm talking about here, how to figure this stuff out. But they were. I can't remember. I've heard a lot more from Teamer than I have the other co-founder. I can't recall his name at the moment, but they were mining the data and experience of getting a job in tech, starting from no knowledge about and it good for the educators to find the best applicants, and all of this boot camps and all of this is designed, within the corporate industry that has to do the role that traditionally you had universities for. But there's corruptions in that model because you're paying up front, and they don't have any skin in the game in you getting a job because they've already been paid. So that's just this total scam, and there's no sense blaming everybody. We're all on both sides of being users and creators, and so we're all trying to help each other out more. So let's read this. NexGenT wants to rethink boot camps with programs for network engineering certifications, written by Matthew Lindley at Matt Lindley. I don't know, where is at Matt Lindley? Is that just assumed to be Twitter? This was March 16th of 2018. Here's these gentlemen here of NexGenT. Developer boot camps, several-month training programs that are designed to help people get up to speed with the technical skills they need to become a developer, exploded in popularity in the early part of the decade. But there's been a bit of a shakedown on the space recently. Now, notice I'm reading an email. I don't think it's just a mental illness that I have to feel overwhelmed with information. I think that people are they're in two general camps. One of them is really good at grokking the jargon of a culture as it is expressed to them in the form of pop culture memes, and people like in the military are full of these jargons, because it's a way to express complex ideas in the form of acronyms, DUMBs, deep underground military bases, for example, and it creates a tribal culture with an in and out of those who are in the group and out of the group. You wouldn't understand if you don't understand this. But then there's somebody like me that is really good at language comprehension and understanding the big picture. But of course, that can be debilitating in terms of you're good at analyzing the situation, but it's paralyzing, and it's hard for determine what's the best course of action because you're trying to pay the most respect to what's being said. But regardless, I think it would be a good strategy for us to expose ourselves to less information. The number one priority of a post-internet world should be in properly curating information on the user end so that we are more exposed to information that is connected to our personal lives, and so that means we have to define who we are, and it needs to be more action oriented. This is a bad habit like drug abuse to just constantly be consume information and then push the button, YouTube auto playing these videos and get you hooked. Keep watching. Don't do anything. Keep watching. So that is interesting. It's one email, because if you don't really get the value out of this, then more info is not going to help. Okay, so the shakedown in the boot camps, from seeing how that's been going. And that could be a product of a lot of things, but for Jacob Hess and Terry Kim, it's just not enough time to become a fully fledged developer. With training in the Air Force, where both had to work on these kinds of compressed programs for entry-level techs, both decided to try their own approach. The end result is NexGenT, which is a kind of their own kind of boot camp, but it's for getting a certificate in network management and not a one-size-fits-all sticker as a developer. Baby steps sounds great. Loved What About Bob? Uh, that approach, which includes a 16-week class, booyah. So that's 4 months, is considerably more reasonable and helps get people industry ready with a skill that's teachable in that compressed period of time. Sounds good to me. I want the least amount of time. I mean, I'm in between jobs since the last one was temporary, as I was issued a handset from America Networks to drive around Arkansas, the Midwest, the Central Plains in my personal vehicle, uh, recording signal strength between the handset and the tower, and it was a great job. But then it got to where, they let me go a week without calling me. And then I say, look, if you don't have any work, I need to go. And they told me it was temporary when I started. I said, if you don't have any work, then I'm going to have to start mowing yards again, which I don't want to do, but this is not an option. Oh, yeah, we got work. And then I worked for a day, and then I had another week of not working. It's just too unstable. Very nice people, Avinash and Mudit, my superiors at American Networks. I definitely would recommend the job, but the only problem is that being paid $14 an hour plus, I don't know, I forget the mileage rate, but it just didn't seem comparable to pay for the stress on my vehicle. But I mean, I just need a job. I'm applying at the Big Red. I've already applied at the Big Red convenience store. That's where I'm at in terms of need for employment. So, this certification sounds very attractive to me versus 6 months or a year before I get a job. There are 500,000 open IT jobs. I heard that same number from somewhere else the other day, and I heard there were only 50,000 people doing this job. Is that even possible? That's a very small number. It doesn't seem possible. But when you look at that number, what's more interesting is so many of them are IT operation roles. Software development has said. The bigger pie in internet technology is non-software programming jobs. Gotcha. So it's more about managing an existing system, a network system, versus creating new software through programming. Cybersecurity is also huge because of the automation and artificial intelligence. What's the connection super specifically between automation and artificial intelligence? Automation in terms of industrial production. In terms of a car wash, replacing hand wash car workers with automated systems, and artificial intelligence. Okay, so that I'm just reading that is that now that more things are automatically controlled by computers, then the risk of those systems being hacked would increase. We want to create the stepping stone. Network engineering becomes a foundation for a lot of these jobs. Whether you want to be a cloud architect and work for Amazon, it all starts with understanding and building a foundation around networking. Okay, so yeah, that means it's not about your software. It's about the environment, the physical system of transmitting whatever data you're talking about. You need to understand how that computer road system works, the Roman road of the modern era. The end result is a 16-week program where a batch of applicants gets a review and a percentage of them are accepted into a cohort of students. They go through an engineering module which teaches them the basics and mechanics of network engineering and learn about the IT industry. Students can go faster if they want. It's primarily online. And then, what does that mean? Primarily online. And then start working on labs where they are building their own lab, either physical or virtual. What do they mean by a lab, and how would I build a physical lab? The process culminates in a project where the students have to roll out a headquarter facility in 2 branch offices from design to technically implementing it. Okay, so I got you. So you these companies need somebody to manage the network they communicate digitally through. And these evidently are proprietary and private networks. Getting them certifications which help them basically show that they are ready to start entering the workforce. Think of it as something similar to having a GitHub account where prospective employers can review the work, except the process is a lot more formalized and you end up with something concrete on the resume. The final phase is around career coaching and helping them get a job, which can last up to 6 months. Okay, so I'm reading that as they will help you get a job for 6 months. Throughout this process, students have access to, and by the way, I heard from a representative who called me from Thinkful that 90+% of their graduates do find work. And I think it was a high number within the first month of looking. I don't recall. They also mentioned a 6-month job finding assistance time frame. Throughout this process, students have access to a mentor and live coaching where students can ask whatever questions they wish. Okay, that again is like what Thinkful was talking about, which was different than Kinsey, which was this classroom program. And this is more like somebody that works in the industry who's getting paid to share their intelligence with you on the development of your projects. So the process is not so dissimilar from the notion of a developer boot camp. But at the same time, there's a smallish graveyard of developer boot camps and some with issues. Galvanize in August said it would lay off around 11% of its staff. What? This was in 2018, right? Okay. While Developer Bootcamp and IronYard shut down altogether. Okay, so that's a research opportunity to figure out what went wrong there with their bootcamp. The knock on these camps is it's hard to get developers ready to start shipping code in such a small period of time. Okay, they bit off more than they could chew. Is definitely something that's doable in around 16 weeks. It's more realistic, Kim said. For coding boot camps, you have to go by off the portfolios and check their GitHub, and they have to pass that technical interview. In our world of IT operations, it's not about the bachelor's degree, it's about the person having the knowledge. But the industry certifications come from third parties, and when they come out of our program, they have 2 or 3 certifications. It's enough to get into that entry-level job. It remains to be seen if this kind of an approach is going to work. NexGenT charges a tuition around $12,000, which with maximum discounts hits around $6,500. Okay, so that's just like, if they think you're valuable, they will reduce the financial bar of entry about halfway. The company offers a 36-month payment plan. Okay, so that means you have to get a loan, and you're going to have to pay that off regardless. And then you got to have good credit or whatever, I would assume. As well, that comes with an enrollment fee. Wonder how much that is, which stretches out that very steep ticket price. I don't understand. How would an enrollment fee help reduce the cost of paying the total amount? Okay, in reality, these 0 to 60 programs are designed to be for profit, though there are some different models that take in a percentage of salary among other approaches. This wording is confusing me. Okay, are you talking about NexGen, your program, or are you talking about these other boot camps you're trying to do better than? Okay, and then also, okay, if just because a program is designed to make money by people choosing to give them money in exchange for the training and job placement in a boot camp, I don't. It's also a for-profit model to, uh, instead of asking for that money up front in a loan, to take it out of their paycheck through income sharing. That's what you're describing. With that in mind, there is an opportunity to build a strong pipeline with certain relationship that helps both the educator, the student, and the company, so that you don't have there's less competition because you're within this confined space, but that makes it cost less and be faster, and you have more certainty that you're going to get a job because all these people are integrated and they're cooperating. And if they can identify high performing students, they can offer more of a proof point and potentially use that as an opportunity to offer some variation of scholarship. Yeah, that's just a fancy way of saying that they were able to identify, look, this person's more valuable, and here's the evidence to support that, and therefore we can make it more affordable. While this is more of a boot campish style program, there are already some internet technology certification programs through tools like Coursera. Google, in one instance, is offering financial aid for a batch of those students, and companies with deep pockets might be able to build out these kinds of pipeline programs on their own. So this is what fascinates me, that computers, personal computing, internet technologies are about distributing access to more people by by volunteering to make ourselves as a human resource more accessible to others, and vice versa, so that even within this corporate realm, they're looking to save money. They're looking to do things more sovereign and in-house, just as I, as an individual, am like looking to be, free from consumerism and more within this open source cooperative ecosystem that mirrors nature's interdependent model. Hess and Kim hope to offer some kind of high-touch approach instead of just a class on a platform of many that will give them an edge to be a preferred option. I don't know. High touch, I think that means uh, personal connections beyond the tech to be more nimble in directing students and all that jazz. Disrupt San Francisco 2020. Pre-register to get 500 off. Newsletters. Okay, well, that's very interesting. I appreciate that email, and I will uh, breaking in squad at Career Karma, where we network to make the best decision moving forward in our tech career. Thank you very much. You can find me once again at chadwarren.me. My focus is transforming our passion into action.